Software companies are currently watching their valuations crash as investors worry that artificial intelligence will turn code into a cheap commodity. Yet the company extracting nearly all the wealth from the AI boom is technically a software and design firm. Despite its reputation, NVIDIA manufactures exactly zero of its own logic dies. They are completely fabless. Instead, they send digital blueprints to TSMC in Taiwan to print the logic. SK Hynix, Micron, or Samsung manufacture and package the high-bandwidth memory. Then original design manufacturers assemble the physical racks. If every physical step of production is outsourced to third-party partners, why can't a well-funded rival simply rent time at those exact same factories and steal the market share? Categorizing NVIDIA as a chip maker misses the actual mechanics of their market position. The modern AI industry operates on a 5-layer stack. At the bottom, the physical supply chain. Above that sits hardware, software, the developer ecosystem, and global geopolitics. Transforming raw electrons into valuable AI tokens is an incredibly complex journey. Securing that life cycle requires a grip at every single tier. This interlocking, multi-layered architecture is the moat. Comparing a single NVIDIA chip to a competitor silicon ignores the structural reality of the market. The base constraint of the AI boom is the physical world. There are only so many gigawatts of power available, and only a finite amount of specialized manufacturing capacity, like the advanced packaging required to assemble AI chips. Because downstream cloud providers have committed hundreds of billions of dollars to buying NVIDIA systems, NVIDIA can take that guaranteed demand as leverage. They use this revenue to convince suppliers to build huge, expensive factory lines specifically for NVIDIA products, prefetching manufacturing capacity years before a launch. They secure the foundries. They lock up the memory output. They monopolize the specialized packaging lines. They even invest in optical networking and influence local power grids. By securing over $100 billion in purchase commitments for logic, memory, and packaging, NVIDIA has effectively consumed the world's supply capacity for years to come. Moving up to the hardware layer, competitors like Google design application-specific integrated circuits, or ASICs. These chips are optimized to do the exact repetitive matrix math required by today's neural networks. But the math is a moving target. AI algorithms are evolving too fast for rigid hardware to keep up. NVIDIA's architecture is highly programmable. When researchers invent a massive new efficiency leap, like Mixture of Experts, NVIDIA's hardware can instantly adapt to run it. It acts like a Formula One car. While it takes immense expertise to drive, it can be tuned to dominate any track. In an industry defined by relentless, unpredictable scientific discovery, hardware that can bend to new algorithms will consistently outperform cheap silicon that can only do one trick. This hardware versatility reaches the software layer, creating a barrier to entry that silicon alone cannot achieve. CUDA is NVIDIA's software platform. Over 20 years, it became the standard translator, allowing developers to write code for GPUs. You are looking at billions of lines of perfectly wrung-out code. Switching to a rival means abandoning that trusted connective tissue. If a massive AI training run crashes, an engineer needs to know immediately if the fault was in their code or the hardware. They will not risk breaking mission-critical models just to save a fraction of a cent on a competitor's untested processor. Rivals don't just have to engineer a better piece of silicon. They have to convince an entire planet of developers to unlearn their native language. When you control the supply constraints, adapt to any algorithmic shift, and write the software standards, it results in the lowest total cost of ownership. A 1 gigawatt data center running NVIDIA systems simply outputs more valuable tokens per watt than any alternative. This makes them the default choice for cloud providers aiming to rent out server space to global startups. NVIDIA's dominance across these tiers makes them the default utility for the digital economy. The only force powerful enough to disrupt a monopoly of this scale sits at the geopolitical layer. Washington has implemented strict export controls to prevent NVIDIA from selling its most advanced technology into China. The policy aims to choke off the compute needed to train and deploy highly capable AI models, specifically those with the power to identify and exploit zero-day vulnerabilities in American software. But NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang argues this assumes a single point of failure. China holds half the world's AI researchers, overwhelming manufacturing capacity, and boundless energy reserves. They can string together older chips by simply pumping more electricity into massive data centers. By blocking access to the American standard, the embargo forces them to design their own native 5-layer stack. China is already the largest contributor to open-source software and open models in the world. If those native models and hardware architectures diffuse into the global south, the American tech stack loses its grip on the rest of the planet. This suggests that the primary threat to NVIDIA's empire is a geopolitical fracture that breaks the world's reliance on their unified standard.